Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Kelly and this is Yaya Simple Living, and it is getting very cold here in upstate New York. We've had like a polar vortex which seems like it's lasted forever, and your girl is cold all the time. So what that means is it's soup season! Yay! So I thought today I would make 5 shelf-stable soup mixes that you can put on your pantry shelf for winter. So please comment down below and tell me what your favorite soup is. And if this sounds like something that will interest you, let's get cooking. Alright, so I have my little recipe book here that I use with all my fun little shelf-stable recipes. So the first one we're going to do is a potato soup mix. And I'm going to set my recipe book up there. And let me grab all my stuff and I'll be right back. Okay, so like I said, our first soup is going to be a potato soup. And I'm going to put it into a quart-sized jar. So for our potato soup, we need 1 3/4 cups of instant mashed potatoes, which I get from Azure Standard. And 1/4. And 1/2. To that, I'm going to add 1 1/2 cups of dried milk powder. There's 1/2. I don't know if my 1 cup measuring will fit in there. Oh, it does. Good. Yay. Okay, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder, which is the chicken bouillon powder that we made in a previous video, I believe on our pantry mix video. So we need 2 tablespoons of that. And let me shake all this down, make sure everything fits. Okay. Then we need a teaspoon of dried parsley, which I grew and dehydrated. And I am just going to kind of eyeball it. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper, and it calls for white pepper. I do not have white pepper. I don't usually keep white pepper, but I do have black pepper, so I'm just going to use that. And it's a 1/4 teaspoon. So 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, and a 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric, which I do not have 1/8, but I will do 1/2 of a 1/4. And 1 1/2 teaspoons of seasoned salt. So there's 1/2 teaspoon and 1 teaspoon. And when we go to make this, we are going to, oops, let me get that. We're going to place half a cup of this soup mix in a bowl, and we're going to stir in 1 cup of boiling water, and that will make 1 serving. So we actually probably need to mix this up. So let me get this all mixed up in my jar. I'm so used to putting everything in levels. All right, so that is our potato soup mix. So again, half a cup of the soup mix into a bowl, and we're going to stir in a cup of boiling water. And that's going to make us our potato soup. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll go on to our next soup. I did go ahead and add the directions on top of my jar. All right, I'll be back. Okay, our next soup is going to be homemade chicken noodle soup. And it calls for egg noodles, but I do not have egg noodles, so I'm going to use some penne pasta. And we need a cup of pasta. Put that in our jar. And then we need a 1/4 cup of dried carrots, and I am using, you can use dehydrated, I'm using freeze-dried carrots. And a 1/4 cup of dried celery. And a 1/4 cup of dried onion, which y'all know your girl's allergic to onion, so we're not doing the onion. And a tablespoon of parsley. And a tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder, which again is chicken bouillon powder that we made. A teaspoon of thyme. A 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Oh, this didn't even fill up the whole jar, huh? Interesting. I guess I could have put this in a smaller jar. I think I'm going to switch this to a pint-sized jar. So give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Actually, I'm just going to leave this jar on here. That's fine. Okay, so for this, when you cook it, we are going to bring 4 cups of water to a boil. We're going to add our soup mix, stir well, and then we're going to reduce our heat to low and simmer for about 15 minutes until the noodles are tender. Now, I am also going to add some canned chicken that I have for this as well when I go to cook it up. So, chicken noodle. Boil 4 cups water. Add mix. Simmer for 15 minutes. Add chicken. Okay, so we got that one done. And just a note for you guys, you can do it in a smaller jar. You don't have to be like me and do it in a big jar. Okay, let me get cleaned up and we will come back to our next soup. Okay, so we are going to be making a taco soup. Let me make sure. Yes, a taco soup for this. So, to my jar, I need I need 1.5 cups of black beans. And I'm going to do a cup of rice. And I'm going to cook this in the Instant Pot because the beans and the rice take different times. Yeah, I'm going to. Alright, then I'm going to do 3/4 cup of dehydrated or freeze-dried corn. So give me just a minute here. Alright, so 3/4 cup of corn. Here is 1/2 cup. And 1/4 cup. Now you can also add in dried peppers. I am not adding dried peppers in. I don't have any. And that is, it would be 1/3 cup. You could add in 1/2 cup of tomato powder, or when you cook it, you can do a can of tomato paste, which is what I will be doing. I need a teaspoon of oregano, which I forgot to get out. Let me grab it. A teaspoon of oregano, which has not been opened yet. Every time I think I'm ready and organized, I manage to not be. Okay. All right, a teaspoon of oregano. 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. There's 1. Okay, and when we cook this, we are going to place the contents into a 4-quart pot. We're going to add 8 cups of water or broth and bring to a boil and then cook it. I am going to be cooking it in my Instant Pot with the probably on high 30 minutes is what I'm thinking. So, and then you can serve it with the toppings of your choice. So, on to our next soup. Give me just a minute. I forgot. I'm also going to add 1 pound of ground beef when I cook this up. So I've put the directions on the top of the lid there. Okay, now I'm going to get cleaned up and we'll go on to our next soup. Okay, this recipe is going to be for a pasta fagioli. So for this, we're going to use a couple bags as well. All right, so I need a cup of small pasta shells. So let me grab my pasta shells. And I need 1 cup of them, which I believe is going to be the end of this box. Yep, it's the end of the box. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to put those into a baggie. Maybe. And get them in there without making a huge mess. All right. So those are going into a baggie. And I am going to press the air out and seal them. Okay. Get rid of that. Then in another baggie, we are going to add our spices. And we are going to add a 1/4 cup of parsley flakes. Ooh. I'm gonna put this bag in the jar to make it easier to fill. Okay, so a 1/4 cup of parsley. We're gonna do, you could do 1/3 cup of diced onion, which I will not be doing. A teaspoon of basil. A teaspoon of oregano. A teaspoon of rosemary. Half a teaspoon of garlic pepper. Or garlic powder, sorry, garlic pepper. Garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. And a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Okay, and that is all of our spices. I'm also going to press the air out of this. And then I'm going to layer into our jar 3/4 cup of pinto beans, which are right here. There's half, and 1/4, so that's 3/4. 3/4 cup of kidney beans. And 3/4 cup of Great Northern beans. And we are going to put our pasta and our spices also in the jar. I think we'll be able to fit them all. I think. Ooh, will we? Hang on. I don't know. Pretty tight. It's going to be a very tight fit. I can do it. I can do it. Moved everything down a little bit. There we go. Yay, I did it. All right, so to cook this, we are going to, what are we going to do? We're going to cook our beans. I apparently have the mix, but not the cooking instructions. Weird. Okay. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to cook our beans. We're going to rinse them, soak them overnight, and then we're going to cook our beans until they're nice and soft. You can cook them in your Instant Pot. And what I would do is you soak them overnight and then cook them in your Instant Pot for 30 minutes on the bean setting. And then we are going to add in our pasta and our spices with 8 cups of water. And then you can simmer it until the pasta is done, or you can continue cooking it in your Instant Pot. So that is that. Let me put down what this is. Pasta Fagioli. Fagioli. Cook beans. Then add pasta and seasoning and cook. I mean, I'm putting general instructions because I know how to do it. So there we have it. There's, how many is that? 4 soups. 1 more soup. What should we do? How about a broccoli and cheddar soup? Give me a minute to get this all cleaned up and I'll be back. Okay, our last soup is going to be broccoli cheese. So I'm using 2 cups of freeze-dried broccoli. You can use dehydrated broccoli. Half a cup of dried onions, which I won't be using. Half a cup of potato flakes. I'm using instant mashed potatoes. And this is going to be used to thicken our soup. Half a cup of milk powder. I'm using whole milk powder. A 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese powder. And I'm using white cheddar cheese powder. I actually just got it from Amazon. You can also get this from Azure, but I wanted to get this done before my next order comes in. So, what did I say? A 1/4 cup? 1/4 cup? You can use yellow cheese powder, but I didn't like the food colorings and stuff in it, so I'm just using the white. Let me get this knocked down a little bit. Okay. Then get some of this knocked down into the broccoli. Make some room here. All right, then I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. You could use vegetable bouillon too if you wanted this to be vegetarian. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm using arrowroot powder. which I'm getting all over me. A teaspoon of parsley flakes. I'm just going to throw the rest of those in there. Quarter teaspoon of garlic powder. And a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And to cook this, we're going to empty the contents into a large saucepan. We're going to add 6 cups of water, stir it well, bring it to a boil, and then we're going to reduce the heat and simmer it for 20 to 25 minutes until it's thick and creamy. So, if we want extra creaminess, we can stir in half a cup of milk or cream just before serving. Where's my lid? Okay. All right, let me get this cleaned up and label everything. Okay guys, so there you have it. We have 5 shelf-stable soup mixes to put on our pantry shelf for winter or for gift giving if you're so inclined. We have a chicken noodle soup that we can add canned chicken to once we open it. We have a pasta fagioli soup. We have a potato soup. A taco soup that we're going to add ground beef to, and you can also add canned tomatoes. You can add whatever you want. And a broccoli cheddar soup mix. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up notification in YouTube. And if you want to see more shelf-stable pantry mixes that you can make yourself instead of buying store-bought, go ahead and hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!